Welcome to the Leader Mentality Show with Rob Clemens in sunny Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I am here with none other than Nick DiStefano. How are you, Nick? Good to see you.
Fantastic. Man. It's great to see you too. That was a powerful slap.
We went power slap. Today is all about power slaps on the Leader Mentality Show. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, a little bit about power.
Yeah, well, maybe a little
slaps.
bit. Well, right, exactly. Well, hey, look, we do have a great topic for today. I want to go ahead and get that out of the way right now, and then we'll circle back around to it. Today we're talking about empowering your team. And even as we were talking about the title for this show, if you're listening at home and you're rolling your eyes and you're going, here, another empowerment video, I want to set the stage for that. We're going to talk about what is actual empowerment, how it's become a buzzword. We're going to get through all that stuff. But at the end of the day, don't write us off just yet, because empowerment is a big thing. You don't want to have an organization where there's only one person with power and everybody else is just lemmings going to work each day. And
absolutely.
He told me to do it. He said to do it.
Do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Told me.
Yeah, I didn't believe in it, but my boss said to do it, so I did it. It's like, well, that's terrible. That's not empowerment at all.
Not even close.
Yeah, so we're going to get into that. Before we get into that, as we like to do, Nick, today you're wearing your shirt like the other way.
The right way, so to speak, quote unquote, right way.
Right, which we don't believe in that here at Leader Mentality Show. But honestly, man, did you get the word out? Like, did you feel like you hit the mission with, we were talking all about autism awareness and things?
100%. It is amazing. And I tell people this all the time, if I were to have one conversation with a person and just plant a seed where they're going to think differently about whether it's autism or something else the next time they see someone or experience someone who might look odd, strange, if they could just think a little differently and think a little more kindly, then I say we succeeded. I think since we last recorded, even I actually got the opportunity to go twice and speak to my kids' classes. Those are the most,
nice.
For me, empowering moments to see a conversation with second graders and fifth graders where they are in the moment literally taking their shirt off and turning it around backwards and just thinking,
oh my God, how would be little Nick DiStefanos?
How can they, that's a scary thought. Well, I already have one kid that's like that. We don't need more Nick DiStefanos in the world.
That was awesome, man.
Yeah, no, it would be wonderful.
See them lifting up others and all the Nick DiStefano things.
Yeah, it was cool to see them just kind of buy into it and want to just be kind leaders, which is for me what it's all about.
Dude, I always talk about that anyway. It's like when we talk about leadership and we talk about kindness, I believe that, look, if you're listening today and you are going through a high mark where you haven't had anything bad going on in your life, my God, enjoy the ride. Enjoy the wave at the top of that crest, because it tends to hit you again later. And if you're at the bottom and you're having what feels like a tough time, just remember that, because I always like to remember when we think we're going through tough things or when we think we have challenges of our own, and you know that you can be kind and realize somebody else might have something else they're dealing with.
Yeah, and it was a great month. I loved it.
That's awesome, man.
Really enjoyed getting the word out there for people. How have things been going here?
Well,
Carolina
listen. I'm not sure when this is going to come out. We may have this air a little bit later than we're recording today, but I am just coming off of the Kentucky Derby. You heard the Kentucky Derby, yeah?
Yes, absolutely.
You a horse guy? Do you watch this stuff?
You know what? I don't usually get into it, but that's the one horse event that I feel like everyone watches. I watched it with my kids. They had a blast. I mean, so inspiring.
Listen, man, I watched the race. I'm not a real, I'm about to say I'm not a real horse guy. I'm not a horse guy. I've not watched races in my life, but I got asked to come and do I was the auctioneer, the guest auctioneer at the Jockeys and Juleps event for McLeod. $10. Hey, I got $5 here, $5 here. Anyway, but so I came over to do that, and I kind of saw what all the madness is about.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Look, man, I mean, it's 2 minutes or so. They say the greatest 2 minutes, but to watch the exhilaration and see these people and these horses doing what they do. I'm an animal lover anyway, but an underdog won. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but if you watch,
I'm going to forget the name of it too. I just know it was the first female trainer, and it came from last.
And it was so cool because you got these ones that are 4-1 and 5-1, and here's this one that's sitting out. I think they were 15 or 20-1 and they came back from behind and won. And there's a lesson in that. I mean, I'm thinking when people are written you off, you can still come back and show everybody. And sometimes you're doing things behind the scenes that nobody knows. I bet you that trainer and that horse, they knew they had something special, but nobody else knew yet. Didn't matter, Nick. Didn't matter.
I bet you that jockey and that trainer felt empowered. Somehow, someone empowered them to keep working, even though they might have been working in the background and working in the, and I don't know that you intended to set me up right like that, but sometimes it's just how we do things. It's what it's about.
Man, you're a real pro to bring the empowerment back into my horse race
bring
story.
It all together. But that is a great example of how sports is such an amazing metaphor for leadership and what we do. And that's sports. It's, you just never know what you're going to experience, and there's so many pieces of it.
I'm taking it from a different angle, and I agree with you, but I'm taking it from a different angle. I'm taking it from the angle of, look, there are people who do not believe in you. There are people who will believe in somebody else because they've been told to. There are people who wrote you off because they didn't see what you were doing behind the scenes. And what I want you to know is, I want you to look at a race like that and think, I'm that one. I'm that horse. I'm that one. And also, I want you to also think, if you are the one that everybody believes in, remember, you could be the one who's looking at that horse from behind later if you're not working your butt off.
Absolutely.
So, but man, so anyway, I'm off on a little bit of a tangent.
I love it.
But
no, that's okay.
Great race. Hey, first leg of the Triple Crown, you know, and here we go.
Coming to Preakness next in Maryland. That's the one horse race I've been to, but I grew up there, so I've been to the Preakness once when I was in high school.
Do you wear giant hats when you go? I know that's more a ladies thing, but do you like?
No, but if I were to go to a Kentucky Derby event, I can tell you I would do my best to find the best bow tie possible.
Oh, no
I would
doubt.
Do that, but I don't know about a giant hat.
I was told quirky bow ties go over well.
Absolutely.
I will, you know, so here's what I learned. I learned that it was a lot of energy at those events. It's a lot of fun. It was the first time I've done auctioning, and we raised some money for a good cause. We raised money for cancer awareness. So, hey, look, anytime I can do something like that, I'm going to take the opportunity. But we've been off on a tangent, man. Let's talk a little bit about what we came to talk about today. So here you are. You're a business owner. You're a manager. And we say to you, you should empower your team. What are we talking about, Nick? I mean, let's not get into the buzzwords. Let's just talk about, what do we mean when we say empower our team?
So when I ask someone to empower their team, and anyone listening, I need you to think about this. Can you do everything? Are you capable of doing everything? Do you want to do everything? And we obviously know the answer is no, unless you're a solopreneur, and even then, you still should empower the people that you are partnering with, because you probably are working with other people that need to have some power behind what they're doing. And I think about it a lot of times in terms of the energy someone brings to their job, to their task, to whatever it is they're doing every day. Are you on board with actually wanting to do it? Like, you don't want to do everything as the owner of the organization. So how do I get other people to want to do it as well? That's empowerment.
I think here's the wacko part, but I am going to speak for a small segment of society. See, here's my problem. I actually do like doing everything.
No, you're weird.
But
this is the guy who should be wearing his shirt backwards.
I know, I am weird. No, but I want to speak to people like me too, because the truth is whether you like doing everything or not, you will come to a realization that if you ever want to grow, you can't do everything. There's 24 hours in a day. And that's where I came to the conclusion.
But I think also too, the people that like doing everything, there's probably a reason behind that. And I think it's important for leaders and managers to think about, what's my goal here? If my goal is to grow this organization so we can have a larger impact, I need to set my own ego aside of, I want to do everything and I like doing everything because I trust myself maybe more than anyone else. Not saying that that's you,
Nick,
right?
just put me on blast, everybody.
Rob only trusts me.
I do. I see where you're going with this.
No, but I do think that we have to there's a massive piece of empowerment where we're setting our own ego aside. There's a whole nother show in it around delegation, but if we're delegating to people, you can delegate in a way that empowers them, or you can delegate in a way where you say, you need to do all of these things and follow this exact list. Well, I don't have any power in this at all. I'm just going to be a robot and go do what Rob said.
I think bad things happen when that happens.
That's not what we want. I don't want that.
I feel like it's the equivalent of if you're making something with a lot of salt in it, and then you just say, well, let's throw more salt in it. It's only your opinion. It's only your viewpoint. When you get other people out there and they're throwing in different perspectives, even if you don't completely agree with them, if you're the decision maker, it's a perspective that it enlarges your mind. It widens the scope for you.
It creates growth and innovation. I think some of the best ideas, the innovation comes from someone that was empowered to think outside the box. They weren't told, sit here in this seat and do this thing and this steps, because if I'm empowered to think creatively, and if I'm empowered, I'm allowed. I'm allowed to fail. I'm allowed to try something new. And some people don't want to do that because what if it goes wrong? So then what do I do?
Well, I'm gonna tell you how I do it, and we don't usually talk like this on the show, but I do want to have a real discussion, because you deal with a lot of this, and as a business leader who I do, like I said, actually giving away stuff is kind of hard for me because, to your point, the trust factor is I know that I will do it with the spirit of the business as I want it done, right? Like, so if I'm doing it myself, I know it's going to meet the spirit and whatever that I want. So it becomes a little hard, but the way I've generally done it, you tell me if you think this is right or wrong. I mean, and I'm being dead serious. You can tell. I create constructs with which people can make their decisions. They're empowered to make decisions but within the constructs of what I do.
Absolutely.
So, for example, I might say, like, we're never. Yeah, I'm using an extreme example here, but if a customer comes in complaining, I would never allow you to slam the door in their face. So construct one is be nice, be reasonable. But at the end of the day, if you do this, this, and this, I will be okay with any of those kinds of answers. I create constructs with which you can make a decision within that construct. Would you say this is good or bad?
I think that's fantastic. I think that what you're doing is setting constructs are no different than setting guardrails or standards around what is acceptable and what's unacceptable. You've given someone something to base their decision off of. So I'm not going to feel empowered if you just say, just go out there and do your best, Nick. I'm going to be like, well, what does that look like? Like, what is it? Because sometimes it's, I don't feel empowered also if I have no idea. Like, I might not have the skills to do this thing, and you've given me this really challenging thing to do and no idea of what's acceptable. I'm not going to feel empowered to try something new. I'm going to just do the safest, easiest thing, and then I might not be within the constructs of what you wanted because I haven't, served the customer the way that we've set as appropriate.
I think thank you for saying that. And that's why I'm actually kind of talking like this, whether I was doing it right or wrong. Here's my point. I'm like, sometimes we say, well, I empower my employees to do things. It's like, well, what does that mean? Well, they can do whatever they want to, make the decision they want to make. Well, it's like, that's actually not empowering them because you're giving so little guidance. Like, let's not conflate empowering with freedom to do anything. I think there has to be, like, we have to still guide people. And I think it's the equivalent of going, if you're a basketball coach, going to your team and saying, your player says, what do you want me to do, coach? Go out there and just play good. Just play good today. Exactly. It's like, well, okay, but now how do we win with that, right?
Yeah, and I think the guardrails and what you're giving to people is truly that you're giving them trust in that as long as you stay with it, like you're staying within this, you're living out what we say is our mission, what's acceptable in our organization. This is how we do things, but yet you have your own unique ideas. And if you can show me, for me, this is what I would want. If you can show me how what you decided, what your choice was, whatever you did fits within why we're doing this. If you can show me that this is, I think a lot about the Savannah Bananas, and they say it is fans first. That's their like guardrail, their mantra, their mission. If you can show me how what you're doing is putting a fan first, great. I'm in full support of it. Maybe I might question and say, well, we lost $1 million on this, and that wasn't. We can't be fans first moving forward if we're making decisions like that. But I see where your head was, and it's a learning and opportunity every single time we empower someone. But you have to trust them to try, and if you don't trust them, even with guardrails,
they'll quit trying.
They won't try. Exactly. They'll just be like, okay, well, I don't have to try because Rob's just going to try, and then that's what other people do too. Sometimes. If we like to do everything, and I don't know if you ever find yourself doing it, but we give them the guardrails and they still might not feel comfortable, and so sometimes we jump in as leaders and we're like, let me do this for you. Like I got this, and we're doing it because we know what the right thing is, but it doesn't empower them.
If I had to say I have an Achilles heel as a leader, that's my tendency. I'll say, well, look, I'll just do it because I know what the spirit is, and it's when I'm finding myself doing that, I have to pull it back because I realize that while I'm doing it for the temporary win, I'm actually going to have the eventual loss because I'm teaching people. You teach people how you want them to behave in a sense, and I don't mean like in an instructional way. I mean, you know, if I say to you, great job when you do something, I'm teaching you that was something that I'm rewarding. And if I say bad job or if I take it away, I'm teaching you a different thing. I have something that I think is very important. And the title of the show is The Secret to Empowering Your Team. If I had a secret, I would tell you this. And look, I'm not, you know, Warren Buffett or something. I'm just a guy who runs a company that cares about culture. This is something that I tell people when it comes down to empowerment. It doesn't mean you can do anything you want to, because as we said, you could say, well, I'm going to go steal all the company money. That's what is empowerment to me.
That's not allowed.
But we have to have something, and I talk to my staff about guiding principles. And you kind of mentioned it there. And a lot of times I'll talk about, here's a general rule that we have, and here's the guiding principle with which you can make a decision. So a guiding principle would be something like, at the end of the day, we want our customer to enjoy their experience with us. Now, you could say everybody says that, but I'm telling you, a lot of people don't actually. They're saying make the most money you can make, you know, have the most customers you can have, whatever the experience
Do whatever
is.
it takes to get there.
Exactly. So I'm saying a guiding principle is, at the end of the day, this supersedes all decisions.
Yes.
If you understand this, and I would challenge people, because I've done it here at Carolina Base, I can tell you that right now. But if at your company you say, what are our guiding principles? Write them down right now. If you listen to the show, write down, what is a guiding principle? What is something that is true of everything? And make it as specific as you can make it.
Yes.
Don't say like, well, we want to do a great job. That's not specific. But what is a great job for you? Make that a guiding principle, right? And so I think that's an important thing that we should talk about, as in, what is the secret? Well, I think that's one of the big secrets.
And I think it's 100% the secret, but a piece of what you're saying is that it's action oriented too. A lot of times we as organizations will say we have this principle or this value, right? We're committed to, you know, I think about McLeod. We say we're committed to the whole person, right? The person is the value, but the principle is we are always committed to the whole person, which means I'm thinking about you not just as a patient, but as an overall person. Who are you aside from the medical number, the case that's in the bed, and what are we doing to make sure that we're taking care of the entire person? So when we say, hey, we know this person has a dog and we've got therapy dogs, can we arrange a dog to come in here, even if it means we get someone to come in on after hours? Like, that's commitment to that whole person. And if an employee were to do that, I wouldn't say, you shouldn't have brought them in after hours. That's not acceptable. It's in line with that commitment, that principle. But what the follow-up to that, I think, is, and this is where the secret sauce kind of becomes something that people remember if they're the employee, is when they're then recognized for that and they are told that not just that they stuck to the guiding principle, but that they were their strengths, what their creativity, their decisions, their actions are the reason that we've made progress as a group. Because a lot of times we'll tell someone like, great job on this project, or this was that was a great outcome for our patients, that was a great thing that you did. But if we say to them, hey, if it wasn't for your creativity, we wouldn't have been able to live out this principle.
Okay.
That is about the person less than the outcome. And that's where I think true empowerment comes. Someone goes, wow, they recognize that not just that I did a good job, but that I am good at my job. Like, I personally am good. And that makes someone go, wow, like, they believe in me. Okay. And I think that's what people want. Like, people want to be believed in, that, you know, no one wants to come to work and make their place worse.
Yeah. So you're saying you have to recognize it when it's happened. And I think that's important. So this is the thing. I mean, we've talked about 3 very good guiding ways to find how to empower people, the secret to empowering. I'd say that, you know, we talked about the idea of creating constructs with which to make decisions. Let them make their own decision, but within constructs, we have to have some sort of rules. You can't just have anarchy. Guiding principles, you have to have a guiding principle. Like, what at the end of the day is our major goal here? What would we think is a victory within our company that would say that, you know, if you make a decision with this in regard, we're never going to have a problem with that? We talked about a little bit of feedback basis, like, hey, look, you did this. Maybe next time you could do this, but I like the decision because of this.
Yes.
You made me think of something early in my career. I learned this very early because I had a pretty hard, man, for my first, real big boy job.
Sure.
And he would look at you so seriously and be like, why did you do that? Whew. And I realized from a young age, I was like, if I don't have a good answer for why I did that, I'm going to be feeling the heat. And but you know what I did, Nick?
Yeah.
Here's what I started realizing. If I could walk him through my thought process and why I made that, not just go, well, I did it because it was right there, you know, but literally say, I considered X, Y, and Z, and I went with Z because of this. I think that's huge. So guiding principle number 3, feedback and where you could have gone. So I feel like there's something else that you and I talked about before, and I feel like we maybe want to like throw like one more tip for people. What's the 4th thing that we're missing?
I would say the 4th thing is your people need to know you believe in them. And I say that because we've talked a lot about empowering, which is like kind of building people up. If we're doing this, we're giving people the ability to you know, crush what they're good at. There's feedback, there's guiding principles, but if they don't know you believe in them, they're not going to take risks. And I guarantee everyone listening has had a coach, a parent, a past boss, someone that you know believes in you, and they've told you, I know you're good at this, go out there and crush it. Go give it a shot. Try this. It's like, you know, you watch motivational speeches from coaches and it's like someone wants to like run through a wall for this person, and that's empowerment. There's no guarantee that when the team leaves that they're going to go out there and win, but they're willing to give it their damn best. They're going to try everything they can. That's how your people should feel. And the words we choose as leaders, and that's what I love about like the idea of empowerment, is the constructs, right? The things that we're talking about have the ability to either make someone feel powerful or powerless. And empowerment is making your people feel powerful. They don't have to have all the power in the organization to feel like I can go out there and give this my best. And you know what? It's okay if I fail because I'm able to walk through. There's going to be feedback. I can talk through why I did this. But I guarantee people have also had people that have made them feel powerless. Why did you do that?
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, I don't even tell you why I did that because I feel this small just by what you said to me.
Right.
And so your people need to know you believe in them. And if they don't know that, I don't know that they're going to feel empowered even with some of the constructs. They might, but for them to have all those other things and then have the belief in them, they're going to feel like they can do it all.
So basically, like even in the, you know, the question could be, why did you do this? And you present it in a different way. We talk about tonality. It's like, why would you do this? But it starts well before the tonality. I don't think that's what we're not talking about the famous, it's body language and tonality. We're actually saying you're setting the stage early on for that you do believe in the people and that they're not going to be reprimanded when they have to make a decision that wasn't with necessarily... So here's a thing that I think, and it's underneath that. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. You know, I believe that part of this whole game that we're talking about of empowering people and giving them the abilities to make decisions is, well, the best person to make the best decision, right? Like, so ultimately, if I have a very analytical person, maybe they'd be great at making financial decisions and things like that. If I have a person who's a great sensory person, they can sense things, that maybe they're the person that can make the best decisions with a customer service move. So there's a part of this of putting the right people in the right seat, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. And you have to be aware of what your people's talents are and what their strengths are. And you have to make sure that they know those as well. There's lots of ways to figure that out, whether it's, you know, personality assessments or even just having conversations with your people to know, I need to maybe move this person. You know, what I often ask myself, like, what excites me about coming to work today? But if you were to ask your employees that, are they going to just say, oh, paycheck? Or there's something different for each one of them? Like, what excites you about coming to work? Well, maybe I should put you over. Oh, cool, that's great. We actually have a need for that. Let's put you in this spot to do it. But I had no idea. And it goes to some of what we talked about in past shows about being curious and empathetic and listening. And
man, I hear you. And I believe that the biggest thing that we could do that would be a mistake would be to get too many of people with the same exact things.
Absolutely.
You know? It's like, okay, I've got a bunch of rah-rah people. Well, maybe I need a couple of people who are really analytical and going to make some. And I think that, you know, that's a part of it. So putting the right people in the right seats, I like it. That's cool. Have you got a good example of that anywhere where you've seen somebody who's really doing this right? And I know you know tons of companies, so I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but is there a gold standard in this?
Honestly, I think of the Savannah Bananas and the fact that they literally when their players try out, they're letting them show, like they have a guy now on their team who used to be on Broadway. You would never think I'm going to a baseball game, but like they've put someone in this and they let him sing, and people love it. Like, they didn't just say, you need to be a baseball player. It's like, okay, well, you're a baseball player, but you're good at gymnastics, so you can be doing flips and stuff in the outfield before you catch the ball. Like, they're a fantastic example, I think, of we've seen, and you can go and watch anything from their owner, Jesse, and he'll talk about the times when he saw players like just staying in the beginning and just signing autograph after autograph, but then he also tells a story about how there was a time when a player was having kids sign his jersey, and they thought, we need to create a way to make this possible for our fans, and they've changed up some of how they do things because of things that players have seen and done, and they put people where they need to be. They're for me a fantastic study in service and how you can be innovative and change the way you do things. And I think every one of their players is empowered to do that 100%.
Interesting. How long have they been around? I feel like you know a little bit about them.
Yeah, so the Savannah Bananas, I want to say they're about 10 years old now. Jesse Cole, he's written 2 different books now. One's called Fans First. One is about his yellow tuxedo. But they've grown from what was initially just a minor league baseball team. They didn't even do banana ball, which is like their own way of doing baseball now, and they slowly evolved that. Jesse actually tells stories about how he was, at the point where he and his wife basically sold everything they had so that they could keep the team going until they finally started to be innovative and change different things based on some of the stuff that they saw there. They said they've always been fans first, but they saw some things that players were doing, and they thought, we've got an opportunity to change here.
It's cool, man. I mean, I see the clips of them on social media. They're doing a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, they're funny, but it's a fantastic study in all things leadership and innovation.
That's a great place for us to kind of like, as we land the plane here, as the show's going out. I think that's a great one. I appreciate you mentioning them. I know I put you on the spot there, but the reason I like that example is this is a team that they're like, we need each person to be entertaining and fun, but they still have a guiding principle. Be entertaining to the fans, be respectful to the fans. Yeah. They have constructs. One of the things you couldn't do is, come out here and, run out of the stadium and go, play in the parking lot. There are still things, but these people are allowed to do what they do. Be entertaining, be smart, be funny. Very cool stuff. Well, look, if you guys are out there, you're running a business of your own or you're doing anything, you just want to maximize your team. Remember that, look at your team not as a bunch of little tools that you pull out of a bag when you want to, but look at them as cohesive parts of a bigger thing and trust your team. So love this empowerment talk. Nick, I guess we'll see you next time, right?
Yeah, I feel empowered to come back and record again, and I hope everyone is empowered to go out there and make sure your team's
This guy's the best at pulling the topic back up. All right, well, hey, Nick, we appreciate it. We appreciate you all for listening. Go out and empower your team and yourself, actually, sometimes. And we do want to thank all of our fans who listen. Make sure to like and share us on the social media of your choice. Thank you to our sponsors, Carolina Bays Homes. And, hey, we'll see you next time on the Leader Mentality Show with Rob Clemens and Nick DiStefano.